Have you ever watched the movie Remember the Titans? Or possibly Rudy? Or even The Little Giants? Those were all football movies about youth in playing football. I'm sure people have heard of The Sandlot. But there aren't many other baseball movies, or even soccer movies for that matter, in the volumes there are about youths playing football. I say that because I want to discuss the prevalence in concussions in youth sports and most notably football. Recently, it has come to the forefront through the NFL, through the Will Smith movie Concussions, and many other venues that the sport of football is a violent, dangerous, and sometimes deadly sport, and the youth playing the game of football are involved frequently with head injuries. That's not a lie. All of that is true. But what really is causing these head injuries in youth sports today? Many statistics will show that head injuries are prevalent across all types of different sports. As you can see by this chart, head injuries are prevalent in wrestling, lacrosse, basketball, even baseball. There isn't a sport that doesn't involve the risk of a head injury played by male or female youth participants. The difference is the prevalence that injuries occur based on the number of youth involved in that particular sport. Football is certainly the most prevalent, with 65 per 100,000 being injured annually, specifically with head injuries. Many other sports, as you can see, such as baseball, have a very low number, single digits. That's because of the type of sport, and I think the reason is the emphasis that's put on football as the most violent sports that youth can play. What's football doing about that, though? Honestly, a lot. Being involved in youth football for over 20 years at this point, I have seen many changes that have come from the governing bodies, both from federal, state, and youth sport organizations that have helped the game of football for youths to participate in a much more safer manner. Let's start with education and coaching. Today, coaches must go through an annual training course that's over 4 hours long. In that training course, you are taught how to evaluate players for head injuries and possible concussions. Those evaluations are based on medical knowledge. They are given to an individual who shows signs or symptoms of a head injury, and they're immediately removed from the game. In the past, those children would just be patted on the head, told to not worry about it, get back in and play. That's completely different now. Children are taken off to the sideline, they're given a number of tests, and those tests are actually repeated in 5 minutes to determine if things have changed for better or worse, to evaluate the player for further injury or return them to play. Not only are they taught how to do these medical evaluations, coaches are taught how to limit the possibility for youth participants to receive a head injury, most notably in practice by limiting practice time with contact only lasting 1/3 of the practice. So coaches cannot put children in drills anymore that are just all contact, going head to head, hitting, and having these violent collisions for 2 full hours. Those days are over. What they do is now teach children how to tackle appropriately, not lead with their head, get the head off to the side, wrap, drive, keep their head up, shoulders strong, in a much more efficient and effective way to reduce the head as a target. Beyond that, there's also equipment changes. Youth sports has reached a new level of safety with their helmets. These helmets now have 3 to sometimes 5 air bladders in them. That suspends the child's head within the helmet, keeping it much more safe and allowing impacts to be absorbed prior to reaching the head. As a medical professional, I truly believe that between the education, the equipment advancements, and the way a game is currently played, head injuries are rising because of the prevalence in the ability to diagnose a head injury. With that said, there is no true definition of what a concussion is and how to accurately diagnose that. Even CT scans or MRIs can't really give you a true picture unless somebody has active bleeding going on within their head. That's scary. So how do we really know that someone's injured? Honestly, we don't. We base that off the signs and symptoms that a child is exhibiting. And because there are key words that the medical profession has built into the evaluation, such as dizziness or nausea, or frankly, I just don't feel good, the default diagnosis becomes concussion. Is that good or bad? It's good keeping children safe, but it's a blanket statement regarding what's going on with that child. There may be other items such as dehydration or even nausea because of them not eating or overeating prior to a game or practice. The idea that concussions are prevalent in youth sports is an accurate statement. The unfortunate thing is football garners a lot of attention, being the most viewed sport in America, the most money-driven sport in America. My hope is that children play safe. There is a continued evolving of equipment, training, and coaching knowledge to train our youth to play one of the best sports around.